Over the past week, I've been playing a lot of the new Resident Evil 4 remake, and I've been enjoying it so much that I really just wanted to make a video talking about it, giving it praise because I truly think it deserves it. Now, a quick look into my history with Resident Evil games. I actually only played Resident Evil for the first time last year. On Halloween, I played Resident Evil 7 on stream as a spooky game for the occasion, and I enjoyed it a lot so much that I continued to play it and beat it. Then I played Resident Evil Village, which I enjoyed even more than 7, and from that point, at the next Steam sale, I went full on into the rabbit hole and bought almost all of them. Played both RE2 and the RE3 remakes, which were great. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make here is that I'm not exactly a longtime fan, and I never played the originals from many years ago. And so when it comes to Resident Evil 4, I went in like it was a new game essentially, with no memories or nostalgia of the original like so many people have. After beating it and now on my second playthrough with like 30 or so hours played, it's hard for me to think of anything negative to say about this game. It is just damn good. Before I begin talking about it though, let's just talk about the fundamentals. This is a $60 remake of a game from 2005. In the age of shitty cash grabs costing $70 standard, that's already a good sign. Also, I played the game on PC. As I'm sure a lot of you know, PC ports don't exactly have a good reputation as of late. I mean, just look at the recent Last of Us launch a few days ago. Complete trash. My PC isn't exactly a potato, but at the same time, it's no NASA rig either. I have a 3080 Ti, 64 gigs of RAM, and an i9 9900K CPU. And I was able to basically max out the game, barring a couple of options set to high like shadows, because for some reason putting those to max takes up like 2 more gigs of VRAM. Also, no ray tracing because I think that's just a huge resource hog in a lot of games for not much benefit. And at 1440p, the game looks phenomenal and runs buttery smooth. I haven't experienced a single crash throughout my time playing it. It's been nothing but a great experience. It just feels so nice to be able to jump into the game and have it work. No pain in the ass shader installation they have to wait for. It just works out of the gate. At least for me it did. Gameplay and combat wise, this is by far the best in the series out of the modern day remakes. One thing that I didn't like about the RE2 remake was that it felt like your character really couldn't do much aside from just run away. It felt like the zombies had more maneuverability and grapple potential than you did, which I guess makes sense. That game was a lot more horror based than action, so having the enemies as more of a threat makes sense. I really like the perfect dodge mechanic of RE3. It was always satisfying to land it, especially multiple times in a row if you could get it. But this takes it a whole step further than that. You can parry almost every single enemy attack with your knife, which can open them up for a nice roundhouse kick to the face. And you can utilize the kick mechanic to get groups together to roundhouse a whole group to the ground for big damage and crowd control. So for example, if one enemy is coming at you, you can parry that enemy, and then if there's a group behind him, when you do that kick, it's going to knock them all to the ground. As for grabs and other various attacks that can't be parried, you can usually dodge them instead. There'll be a prompt to duck under it, for example. Or, just like you can in all the Resident Evil games, you can just run out of the way. And it really just never gets old. Even after playing for 30 hours, when you take out a huge group of enemies without taking any damage, it is super satisfying. It also adds a huge element of skill to the combat, having to land your parries and dodges and deciding if the next attack is going to be one you have to dodge or one you can parry. It's so much fun. And the guns play into it really nicely too. They feel really nice and punchy to shoot. The shotguns feel powerful as they should, blasting off enemies' limbs with just one shot. The rifles are basically guaranteed to take off the enemy's head if you hit them there, at least on the standard difficulty. And the pistols do a good job of stunning the enemy to then follow up with a kick attack. There are quite a few of them to choose from too, so on subsequent playthroughs you can pick and choose which kind of loadout you want to use. I pretty much made the Red 9 on my first playthrough, and with the exclusive upgrade, it hit like a truck. Every weapon in the game has these exclusive upgrades that you can get by either fully upgrading the weapon or by buying the ticket from the merchant. And these basically enhance a certain aspect of that weapon by a good margin. For example, on the Red 9, it increases the damage by 50%. The semi-auto rifle, its exclusive upgrade, doubles the fire rate, things like that. Speaking of the merchant, I really like the way that selling the treasure works. You'll come across various items that can be inlaid with gems being another little treasure that you can find throughout the world. You can either sell an item how it is with no gems in it for instant cash, or you can put gems in it to increase the value, and they have a whole poker hand guide basically of what combinations increase the value by the biggest amount, because there's different colored gems that are worth more if you stack certain variations. So say you put all 5 different colored gems in one piece, that's going to give it a 2 times value that it would normally be otherwise. It's kind of fun deciding which ones you want to sell now and which ones you want to save to put on another valuable later that might be worth more money. And it gives you that choice that you have to make. Do you want to wait until you have more gems to increase the value for money down the road, or do you fill it with what you have now for instant cash to help you out? The merchant also has a separate currency called spinels, and the main way you get these are by completing side objectives on the blue sheets of paper that you'll find throughout the world. The side objectives aren't anything crazy. Most of the time they just make you backtrack to an area to take out an enemy, collect something to sell, or destroy some medallions. These aren't like cyberpunk side quests. Then when you return to the merchant to trade them in, you can buy things that can only be bought with these spinels. There's different treasures, a few guns you can even buy, attachments for weapons. You can buy tons of gold coins if you want to try to get the rare charms. So it gives you an incentive to want to do those side quests. Another way you can earn coins though is by getting higher ranks in the shooting range, which I have spent probably a solid 2 hours on, just trying to get the S rank on all of them. The shooting range is a lot of fun, but the case and charm system really brings another element to the game. You are able to equip 3 charms on your case at once, and each of these charms gives you a little perk. From simple healing increases to crafting bonuses, and the more rare ones have better bonuses. There's one that grants you an 8% running speed bonus that I've been trying to get but can't because it's not exactly easy. It's completely random. Along with that, you can change your attached case color, which gives you different perks affecting drop rates of certain items like money, handgun ammo, resources, herbs, so you can kind of tailor your playstyle to what you want with this system. I briefly mentioned earlier about how good the game looks, but I do want to go into more detail on that. The RE engine gives some great visuals in every game it's been used in, and this is no different. Everything from the environments to the detail on the character models looks amazing. Everywhere you go, there is just a crazy level of detail that tells the story itself, and the castle especially does as well with the darker dungeon areas and the more prestigious looking areas and the contrast between them. The lighting also does a great job of building tension in some scenes. This one definitely isn't as scary as the RE2 remake or RE7, but there are a few different occasions where you have the infamous creepy dark hallway, and coupled with the audio design, it sets the tone very well. When you're sneaking up on the Ganados, hearing the creepy chanting get louder and louder, or hearing footsteps as an enemy is hunting you down, it's exactly what you want out of a game like this. I know there's a lot of people that are critiquing the voice acting for Ada in particular. Me personally, I don't really have a problem with her voice. That could be because I never played the original. I don't have that connection though. When I first heard her voice in the trailer, I kind of thought it didn't sound that good, but actually playing the game, I didn't mind it. And even so, she's not in too many scenes for it to have a major impact on my feelings of the game as a whole. Since we're talking about Ada, that brings me to my next point, the characters. In general, I feel are much stronger than in Village, and really any of the Resident Evil games that I've played for that matter. And for the antagonists, that makes their boss fights a lot more exciting. The Krauser boss fight, without going into much detail in case you haven't played the game yet, is one of my favorites from both a level design perspective and gameplay perspective. That entire fight sequence is just badass. Leon is a much better main character than Ethan is in Village. He just has a lot more personality, and I really like Luis in this game too. If I did have to say one thing that I don't really like about Resident Evil 4, I would say it's the way you go about unlocking the infinite ammo. I think Village did it way better where you fully upgrade each gun and then infinite ammo is unlocked to purchase in the extra content shop for that individual weapon. In 4, the only way you get unlimited ammo is either by a select couple of weapons exclusive upgrades, buying the infinite ammo RPG, or getting the cat ears accessory that you're forced to wear to get unlimited ammo on any other weapon you want that isn't those 3 that I listed. I feel that's just a worse system with less freedom for the player. If there was a system where you have to get a certain amount of kills, let's just say, for that weapon to unlock infinite ammo, I would actually prefer that, or maybe another option, just have it to where the infinite ammo version of a weapon costs more money, like the infinite ammo RPG does, so it's more of a grind to unlock it. That's really my only sort of nitpick with the game, though, which is completely unnoticeable on your first playthrough because you're not going to have access to that stuff on your first playthrough regardless. Only for subsequent playthroughs and replayability messing around you'd notice that stuff. And maybe the way they have it now for the unlocks was more like the original, so that's why they decided. I'm not sure, but I just think the Village system is superior here. Overall, I would have to give the Resident Evil 4 Remake a solid 9.5 out of 10. Definitely my new favorite in the series, and it's funny, after playing Village, I can 100% see where Village took a lot of inspiration from Resident Evil 4 in just so many different areas and scenes. Even as simple as the setting, both games have a village section and a castle section. They both start off where you're fighting waves of enemies until it eventually stops. There's just so many similarities. I highly recommend this game to anyone that is a fan of third-person shooters or survival horror games, and it's just nice to see a game come out that feels complete, works properly on release without the need of 15 different patches, that is good. And since I've put so much time into it since it came out, I just wanted to talk about it and give it the praise it deserves. Also, we have Mercenaries coming out in like 5 days from now, so it's only going to get better. If you guys enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more content. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Oh my god!